Hi and welcome to Indigo Starfire. My name is Bevin, and in this reading I'm going to be looking into what are the hidden thoughts and secret feelings of your person towards you and the connection right now. There are 3 groups to choose from. Group 1 is the Amethyst, along with this card which says Imagine. Group 2 is the Quartz, along with this card which says Celestial. And group 3 is the Chrysoprase, along with this card which says Balance. So if you want to take a moment to center, focus on your breathing, and feel whichever group, maybe multiple groups or perhaps all of the groups that you're most drawn to, I'll give you a minute to make your selection and then we'll get right into it. And there are timestamps in the description box of the video for each group if you'd like to jump ahead, which I do recommend using so that you can skip over me shuffling cards in between groups to clear the energy of the group I just read for and tap into the energy of the group I'm about to read for. So again, I'll give you a minute. Please use the timestamps and we'll get into your reading. Hi, Group 1. You chose the Amethyst, along with this card, which says Imagine at the bottom. And just based on this card in a kind of an introductory manner as far as the hidden thoughts and secret feelings about your person towards you right now, I'm drawn to this crescent moon here, to where they may be considering coming out of the shadows, illuminating in some manner some feelings that they have towards you that have been hidden, that have been suppressed up to this point, perhaps feelings that they still have for you if you've been in separation for a period of time. This card, or the moon here, also, although there are moons in all of these cards, it is a moon-themed deck. It does speak about intuition, but then it's tying in with this owl here for me as well, that they are regarding you as a very wise person. You have a lot of wisdom. They may be reflecting on conversations that you had at one point in time, words of wisdom that you had to impart to them. that have started to make sense. They have started to kind of take on new meaning, new gravity. There's a clarification for that. Perhaps even things that were said that may have been kind of cryptic in the past, or sort of the meaning was lost to this person. Fast forward to the sort of the current circumstances that they are in their world, in their life, and it feels that they're being reminded of things that were said in the past. The meaning is suddenly clear. They're seeing the deeper layers and deeper aspects to these words, intentionally or unintentionally, that you were trying to impart to them. This can also really speak to ways in which you have handled maybe a separation between the two of you, that they are looking at this as a very wise decision on your part, maybe to detach from expectations. Perhaps some of you have moved on in other ways. You're opening your heart up to exploring romance and other connections, and that this person is really seeing that as a very wise move on your part, because it's gifted them the time and the space and the ability to really process a lot of their feelings without kind of this pressure maybe of a runner-chaser dynamic that had been going on at one point in time. If you have some kind of social media platform, maybe where you are sharing aspects of your spiritual journey, or even, kind of involved in sort of online communities, maybe twin flame communities, for example, if you resonate as that, or just something to do with kind of spirituality, or even things that you're doing professionally, and you're posting about these things, maybe making content, making videos, posting blogs. This can even be memes that you're posting, that they're seeing that you have a lot of wisdom to impart to others, that you really have learned and grown through your own kind of personal journey, through your journey with this person, your journey in love, your journey to self-love. And again, it's something where they're getting a lot of inspiration. They're learning a lot from you. And even just if they're not able to really see kind of what you're up to at this point, or you're not very public with that, energetically, they're sensing a lot of growth within you from kind of the inception of the connection, or maybe a period of time where you went into a separation or no contact. They're still feeling your energy. They're still really perceiving you in kind of their auric field, getting a lot of signs about you, a lot of reminders being drawn back to you. Maybe a lot of dreams are factoring in heavily for them at this point in time. And that they are, kind of quietly inspired by all of this to undertake some aspect of their own kind of personal healing and growth journey, wanting to kind of move toward the frequency that you are embodying, or in some way getting a lot of inspiration and wanting to kind of emulate what it is that you have constructed for yourself, a path that you have carved out toward kind of bringing this idea with Imagine of, kind of this high vibration, this abundance mindset within yourself out into the material world. And so, the kind of the thoughts and the feelings that this person is having at this point in time is wanting to really follow suit in that manner, in their own kind of unique way, in their own life and in their own sort of journey as related to this connection. So I'm going to get some tarot and oracle cards to dig a little bit deeper into this, and then I'll get some message cards from their higher self and close it out with some guidance from spirit about the situation. Let's see what else wants to come through as far as your person's hidden thoughts and secret feelings about you at this time, or as it relates to the connection. Okay, so we have the World, which is fixed energy, Aquarius, Taurus, Leo, and Scorpio. Wheel of Fortune, which is mutable energy, Pisces, Gemini, Virgo, and Sagittarius. Death, which is Scorpio. The Lovers, which is Gemini. Ten of Cups, which is water energy, Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio. dandelion, vitality, empowerment, perseverance. Reaching for your dreams, go for it. Lady's mantle, mother, healing, alchemy. And to be fair, which is really giving me Libra vibes, almost like the Justice card there with these scales that are balanced. So with 4 major arcanas here, this is very powerful, the nature of this person's thoughts and feelings about you at this point in time. The Lovers can really talk about this element of choice, and it feels like leaning closer to this decision to maybe resurface from the past, a desire to move forward in this situation with the Wheel of Fortune into kind of a better direction, kind of move away from the stagnancy or the silence or this energy of kind of an ending with the Death card here, but death also really encompasses fresh beginnings, resurrection, and a reimagining. So that feels to really kind of tie in as well with this idea of reaching for your dreams and go for it, where they're really contemplating creating action, creating some kind of movement in this situation at this time or in the near future. This can also really talk about moving out of some stagnancy, closing out some cycles in their own life with the World card here that have interfered with the connection in the past, maybe things that are really being brought to the surface in terms of some deep shadow work, some healing that needs to be done. This idea with the Lady's Mantle and alchemy and also healing, kind of transmuting the experiences, their view of kind of life and reality, this situation, wounds and kind of prohibitions that they've had about love and romance in the past. They're very much inspired by efforts that you have made to transcend certain cycles, certain belief systems, to really kind of seek the wisdom, gain the wisdom, crystallize the wisdom out of this experience, rather than just kind of continuing to sort of hold on to a lower vibration and energy of expectation, waiting in place, staying in the stagnancy, any efforts that you've made to kind of pivot forward in a new direction. This person is seeing that or sensing that, and it's really an inspiration to them. And we've got this energy with dandelion and vitality and empowerment, and so they're seeing you and feeling you energetically, and even in what they're able to observe in the material world, as you are very abundance driven with these kind of little dandelion threads that are sort of flying out into the wind. This ties in with the idea of wishes and kind of reaching for your dreams. They see you as very goal oriented, as having redirected your focus, having shifted your focus in some manner away from the past, away from circumstances in this situation that cannot be controlled, and instead choosing to do what it takes to do that healing work within, to create balance for yourself, restoration for yourself, rather than kind of waiting around and hoping for this person or even something outside of yourself to be that kind of balance, that other sort of shift in the fulcrum for you. You've really become that for yourself. They see you as somebody who is sitting in this energy of contentment. You're reaching for your dreams. You've achieved maybe a lot of dreams. It's very inspirational energy to them. It's helping them to reimagine possibilities for themselves in kind of a major way in their life. Again, with all these major arcana cards here, this feels to be thoughts and feelings about you and the connection that in some way take on a wider scope in terms of their life in general, that they feel very inspired by you directly. We also have this little owl here on this lady's head in the To Be Fair card. So another confirmation of that little owl that we saw here in Imagine of wisdom. They see you as a very wise being. You've made a very wise choice in this situation. They see you as somebody very discerning, and it's really causing them to go within and to examine kind of belief systems that they have had, unconscious or even conscious patterns, wounding that they've really been holding on to, anything where they've been really kind of fixed or stuck in place in some manner. They are giving way to momentum, to change with this mutable energy here. So an evolution in some way in terms of how they are viewing you in the connection, rather than just kind of staying stuck in the past, there's an openness here. There's this decision that has been made to release something, some particular stance about the situation, some particular way of kind of viewing it, maybe a lack mentality as well with the Death card, and instead focus on abundance, focus on what can be repaired, what can be restored in this situation, and then again in this kind of this wider scope in their life, what changes are necessary to sort of take place, inspired by this situation, mirrored by this situation, brought to their attention energetically or literally through what has taken place in this situation. So there's a massive energy of kind of pivot here, moving in the direction of wish fulfillment, of contentment, of vitality, a desire, thoughts and feelings about kind of breathing life back into this connection, contemplation about, just kind of taking a chance, going for it, creating contact, creating movement, creating momentum, expressing some feelings. Maybe these were long hidden feelings that they weren't able to fully appreciate or to value before, that in some way have kind of taken on a new gravity, a new perspective for them. If this is a situation where you've been in no contact maybe, or separation with these, the world and the Wheel of Fortune for like a long period of time, at least a year has gone by between you and this individual. The fact that they are still feeling your energy, that they are sensing and maybe even witnessing in the material world, the changes and the evolution that is taking place within your life and within your energy, and then reflecting on how they are perceiving that, how they are receiving that within themselves. These little nudges and sort of cues that they are picking up energetically, or even the inspiration that they are getting in a literal sense, to kind of evolve beyond a comfort zone in some manner, to step towards greater abundance within themselves, to learn to kind of fill their own cup, to love and kind of cherish themselves despite a sense maybe of kind of lack or brokenness or limitation that they may have really just taken on as part of their identity up to this point in time. That they, instead of being almost very triggered and kind of recoiling from this situation, they're leaning into this. And again, it feels that, still with that moon, even in its kind of crescent phase there, it looks like a bit of a waxing moon, like it's getting ready to kind of come into that full moon, that full illumination. There's still a bit of hesitation on their part as far as what the proper kind of approach to this situation is. Whether it's, reaching out to create a fresh start with you, or reaching more deeply within themselves in order to kind of heal and transmute a lot of sort of the pain and distortion they had been holding on to, that has been highlighted for them through this connection, or that they're becoming very aware of through your energetic shifts. They are in some way kind of being directed to deeper layers of themselves energetically, kind of their own polarities, their own sort of ebb and flow in ways that they may have been oblivious to before, kind of numbed out to, or had avoided within themselves. That this is a very almost, it's the energy of kind of swinging in a new direction, of pivoting, of changing course, coming out of a fixed or stuck position, circling round and round unconsciously or consciously in kind of a self-imposed trap or patterns within themselves that they are being urged to outgrow. And whatever you're doing in your life, whatever is taking place within you, literally in the physical world or even energetically, this person is really sensing that, and it is operating as kind of a beacon or a nudge for them to kind of make these changes within themselves. And for a lot of you, this also in some manner encompasses thoughts, a lot of thoughts at this point in time that are directed to creating some kind of change in the circumstance between the two of you, kind of breaking up this stale or stuck or kind of closed off or almost sort of kind of expired energy, the free flow of energy between the two of you, kind of coming up out of the past, the idea of ghosts of the past being resurrected in a new manner to create a new cycle between the two of you, a new kind of approach to this situation, a desire to kind of breathe life back in and to really test and see if there's, the potential to kind of rebuild in a new direction. If the seeds of love which existed between you at one point in time are still viable and a choice that they may be considering for a lot of you to invest more fully in this connection, and to just exploring sort of what remains, what can be forged and formed going forward in terms of a dynamic between the two of you. So I'm going to get some messages from their higher self now and see, what does this person want to tell you, group 1? Okay, and they say we have so many beautiful memories. So they're sitting in nostalgia at this point in time. A lot of reflection, a lot of self-reflection. Again, that idea of the memories and kind of words of wisdom that you had imparted to them that may have fallen on deaf ears at one point in time that are taking on new meaning and new weight. It feels like it's comforting this person or really sort of pointing them in a particular direction as they are at this kind of crossroads of change in their life. And they also say, I thought you were too good to be true. So this can really speak to this kind of lack mentality, sort of a pessimism around love that may have led them to sabotage the connection, kind of dismantle things or sort of cut things off with you before, so that the illusion would fade and it would, the situation would prove almost too good to be true before they would be left high and dry and kind of sitting with this overwhelm of feelings and, kind of perpetuating sort of a systematic heartbreak that they had experienced in love and connections in the past. And it feels that they are really starting to become aware of this kind of action or activity as stemming from some unhealed part of their own core wounds within that is really needing to be remedied. That they're starting to really take a look at this and starting to explore the possibility of moving beyond kind of the status quo of their view on love and partnerships and ways in which they've really stood in the way of their own blessings in the past in general and as it pertains to this connection. They also say you were the right person at the wrong time. So again, a lot has really become clear to them in kind of the aftermath of separation through the personal growth and evolution that you have done. It is really helping to illuminate to this person the right path forward. And this may be something that they could almost be contemplating expressing to you, that they were operating from, this kind of particular vantage point, stuck in some wounds, stuck in a particular perception of love, stuck in a cycle of heartbreak, being very kind of unconsciously sort of driven and directed by ghosts of the past that they had not healed, a pessimistic attitude toward love in general that just rendered them almost incapable of receiving or even perceiving the gift of the love and the energy and the connection and the intimacy that you had to offer in the past. They also say, I'm feeling emotionally void without you. So there's that reference to void, this emptiness. This is someone who may have really sought to fill that through, substances, through distractions, through work, through kind of shallow and superficial, relationships, through just kind of cheap thrills and sort of this real immediate gratification energy. And there's a sense of them having really become aware of this pattern within them to a larger degree and really seeking out how to fill that void within them, or at least learn to love themselves in that manner, in that capacity. And in some way, this really ties into inspiration that they've kind of gotten from you about ways in which you have kind of sought to understand your own shadow, your own kind of parameters and barricades surrounding love and partnership, and how you have dealt with that in the past versus kind of new methods, new modalities that you are utilizing to really heal and to bring a sense of restoration to yourself. They also say, sorry, I did not see your value and worth when we were together. So again, this idea of kind of feeling that the situation might have been too good to be true in the past. It feels that they really weren't at a place of readiness to be open to love. Maybe they were still kind of recovering from some previous heartbreak, something even from the distant past that they didn't consciously know was still affecting them in such an adverse way. But this really ties into this idea of, not that it was anything insufficient about you, or, maybe they had said you were too much, you were too intense, you were coming on too strong, and it feels almost that the opposite was in fact true, is that they were kind of restricted. They were holding themselves back. They were operating from a wounded stance, very guarded, very closed off to love and to potential and to romance and possibility, kind of just lingering in this energy of stagnancy within themselves. Holding on to pain and disappointment from the past, that something has really shifted. They're seeing another way, another possibility for being, for moving through the world, through kind of experiencing their own emotional body, starting to really recognize how they've stood in their way, they've sabotaged on perhaps more than one occasion. This may be just sort of a trend or tendency for this individual, that energetically or through whatever it is you're doing, that they are able to observe. They're inspired inspired to take action, to make some kind of change within themselves, which may ultimately lead to change in this situation. They also say, I hope you allow me to step up and turn this around. So that's a confirmation right there for a lot of you of this person, thinking about reaching out, wanting to make things right in this situation, wanting to restore the balance in this situation, provide you with some kind of answer and clarity, moving into a place of healing within themselves so that they are able to be a reciprocal and healing presence if and when they choose to kind of reemerge into your life and to present the possibility of working through the difficulties you have faced and to move closer toward this kind of element of harmony you may at one point in time have enjoyed, or that was kind of this unactualized possibility between you in the past. So I'm going to get some guidance from Spirit for you now about the situation. Okay, we have inward revolution. So this is really reinforcing that idea of whatever you're doing on your own kind of personal healing journey at this point in time, it is reverberating, it is having an effect upon this individual from afar, from a distance. So you're encouraged to continue to do that, continue to kind of seek out sort of the boundaries around your heart to giving and receiving healthy and reciprocal love. Continue to do that shadow work, continue to kind of bring yourself to a place of restoration and hope despite what has taken place in the past, seeking deeply inward for kind of that sense of validation, that becoming that love you wish to receive. It is being registered by this person. They are either observing this glow up or this transformation in you in the material sense, and it's helping them to see you and the possibilities in this situation with fresh eyes. For others of you, and maybe even in addition to that, they are feeling this very profoundly, this shift which is taking place within you. It is directing them toward kind of these nooks and crannies within themselves that need to be evaluated, that need to be really deciphered, need to be really seen with some clarity, or maybe noticed for the first time. And so really, this encouragement to just continue to move through and kind of break through these patterns and these conditionings, narratives surrounding love and partnership, even, continuing doing the healing work surrounding what has taken place in this connection, in this situation, is the best recipe to creating change for yourself first and foremost, change in the vibration that you are emitting, which can then kind of magnetize in the greater possibility of change within this circumstance and within this situation. So I'm going to get some initials, and this can be first, middle, or last name of you or this person, or it could spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. Got R, C, E, N, D, F, Q, and H. So those are your messages, Group 1. I hope they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers if you're interested in checking any of that out as well. And now through the end of the month of February, I am running a sale in my Etsy shop. Everything, including readings, is marked down 15%. So if you have been kind of on the fence about getting a reading, or any kind of like jewelry that you had your eye on, dream catchers, anything like that, now would be the time to act upon that. And let's see what else. Oh, I've launched a second channel here on YouTube. It's called Lady of the Dawn Tarot, and there's a link in the description box as well as in the channel section of my page for that. The format there is a little different from here. I do pick a cards as well as general energy check-ins, but the topics that I cover are related to spirituality, wellness, ascension, and self-love. So if any of that sounds interesting, I invite you to check that channel out, and I thank you for your support over there as well as for your continued support here on this channel. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, Group 2. You chose the Quartz, along with this card, which says Celestial. So just based on the imagery of this card in terms of your person's hidden thoughts and secret feelings about you, it feels that you represent a light in the dark for them. You are some kind of beacon, some kind of lighthouse. You are a point on the horizon that they are striving towards. And it feels that a lot of this may be energetically this unconscious draw that they have always felt to you that is becoming a little more apparent to them. You are, it feels like, also kind of operating on an energetic level as a guide, or I'm also hearing a guardian for them as they are kind of moving through a shadowy period in their life, maybe a lot of cycles that they are in the process of kind of breaking through, a lot of shadows that they are having to face in some way. You mirror the potential of moving through that. You represent courage to this person and the energy of transcendence, that if they had been avoiding kind of doing this work up to this point in time within themselves, just kind of staying in a rut, staying in worn out patterns, there's things about you that they are really seeing as kind of that incentive to push through to the other side of this sense of almost complacency, or kind of just feeling very powerless, very helpless at this point in their life, or maybe kind of a daunting task of breaking through some pretty heavy cycles. This can have to do with addiction. So maybe this is something that you have experience with, you have moved through and have successfully kind of transcended the grip that substances have had upon you. And this can be something that this individual also has been struggling with, and in some way they are looking to you as this example of kind of hope and restoration on the other side of a very arduous kind of process of breaking down a particular way of being, moving into this place of surrender and trusting in kind of the promise of restoration on the other side of that. You represent healing for this person, and it feels like that you're meeting with each other in the dream space quite often and exchanging healing energy with one another. And this is something that they are becoming more and more consciously aware of. It feels also this idea of kind of with this sort of dark background here, that oftentimes you appear probably in one another's dreams in a very cloaked sense. You are appearing in different kind of guises, different appearances, and yet energetically that energy signature is very discernible. And this feels like something that they are starting to explore. They're starting to come more into their conscious awareness of that. That despite the ways in which you might not see eye to eye in the 3D, or there might be kind of completely blocked off or closed off communication between the two of you, they feel very comfortable in this space. It's a very tender energy in this card right here, that they may not be at the place of wanting to necessarily admit that they enjoy the pleasure of your company in the dream space as you're showing up in many different kind of guises and masks, or almost kind of impressions or appearances to them in that space, but they feel to be very comforted when they almost are able to, it feels like a game of hide and seek almost, and when they wake and they kind of reflect on this dream space, and they're able to kind of pull past that mirage, pull past the appearance of what they've seen, and identify your energy there. It feels very endearing, very tender. It's something where there's a lot of gratitude they have for your companionship. Still in this sense, in an energetic sense in their life, even despite kind of what has happened, kind of the dark or dormant phase you may be in your connection in a material sense, in a 3D sense. This idea of celestial also really can confirm, if you resonate as a star seed, that this person may be opening up to that idea as well. They feel a kinship with you. Almost this light and shadow brings to mind this idea of kind of this yin-yang dynamic, where they are really perceiving you as their counterpart, as a way shower in some way for this person to step more into the fullness of their own identity, perhaps to explore these different kind of nuanced aspects of their identity. If you have some kind of platform where you discuss these aspects of yourself, being a starseed, maybe you resonate and identify yourself as a light worker, and you are doing your light work out in the world in a way that this person is able to kind of tap in and tune into that. It feels that very secretly, very cloaked, in a very hidden manner. So from a fake profile, or just kind of as the silent observer, that kind of anonymous thumbs up on a post or something, or on a video that you put out. They're watching, they're very attentive to that. You are helping to kind of guide them to this greater clarity of who they are, of the possibilities within them, what they can almost kind of grow into, or what sort of lies dormant or kind of buried or obscured beneath kind of this mask or persona that they have been operating in through the world. This may be something where the two of you really mirror each other, in the sense of for a period of time you've really dimmed your light, feeling very kind of out of place, very alien in the world, having a difficult time kind of finding your groove and your momentum, and the ways in which you are kind of stepping into your authenticity. You're carving out a new path for yourself. It is encouraging this person as well to move beyond kind of limitations, distortions, any ways in which they've been chameleoning to kind of fit in with their environment or the expectations of others. You're helping them to kind of lean more into and discovering and embodying that authenticity of who they are in a very brave and unapologetic manner. So I'm going to get some tarot and oracle cards to dig a little bit deeper into this and see what are their hidden thoughts and secret feelings about you and the connection right now. Okay, so we have Strength, which is Leo. Six of Cups, which is water energy, Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio. The Moon, which is Pisces and Cancer. Seven of Cups, so more water energy. Eight of Cups, so water energy again. New waxing moon, conception, inner self, expansion. Yellow, flexibility, adaptability, personal power. Sun, illumination, growth, God energy. And To Be Fair. So this To Be Fair card definitely has Libra vibes with the woman with the two scales there that she's holding. And this card also came out in group 1. So if you felt drawn to watch that group, you may want to do so after this one. There could be additional messages for you there. But a lot of emotional energy. And these, I'm going to call this a double confirmation of the moon, because even though we have the moon in this card here, this is a moon themed deck. So all of the cards have that. So you can look at that as a triple confirmation with these 3 moons right here, or a double confirmation. But really that's talking about the subconscious, a lot that is hidden, a very kind of dark period that this person might be at right now, kind of looking into some of the untapped layers of their feelings, of their emotional body, with all this kind of cups energy, this watery energy, a lot of nostalgia, thoughts and memories that they are really reflecting on. And it feels like almost seeing the situation, seeing you with fresh eyes, things that may have been very obscured from them before. We've got the sun and also sun and strength, which are both kind of the energies of Leo. And so this is really tying in with this idea of counterparts, this very feminine energy of the moon and then the masculine polarity of the sun. So it feels like this person is really sensing you as kind of this yin to their yang, this counterpart energy, that kind of the aspects about you in this situation that had been so triggering for them in the past, they are starting to very quietly kind of explore and look at these things as perhaps wounds within themselves that are needing to be addressed, or even ways in which they may have kind of set you apart from themselves. They may have put you up on a pedestal to some degree, which led to almost self-sabotaging in the connection, or not taking the cup of love that was offered to them by you in the past out of a feeling of kind of lack or unworthiness. They're starting to kind of see that from a different angle, from a different vantage point, that these qualities about you that they had been in such admiration of, they're seeing that these things dwell within or are capable of being cultivated in a more profound way within themselves as well. They really feel that you are helping to guide them energetically to stepping into a more empowered and better version of themselves, to come out of hiding in some manner, seek within and find that authenticity, step into that personal power. They may be kind of engaged in taking their power back right now from circumstances, from say a cycle of addiction, low vibrational relationships, a tendency toward people pleasing, or operating out of kind of the energy of mirage or illusion. And through this very arduous process of kind of breaking these patterns within themselves, taking off the masks, but then feeling very much at a loss as far as their identity outside of these things, outside of what may have been kind of a lifelong tendency to, again, the word chameleoning is coming in very strongly. Somebody who may be very kind of mutable or adaptable. They sort of change with every circumstance that they are involved in. They are a different person with different people, and at the end of the day, they've almost had this lack of an idea, a lack of clarity about who they truly are outside of the expectations of other people. Maybe something to do with even kind of their childhood or their upbringing, where they had to kind of walk on eggshells. They may have grown up in a very volatile household, dealing with kind of narcissistic parents, for example, where this person's needs were very secondary. It was all about just kind of keeping the peace. kind of living up to some sort of an expectation, being kind of the peacekeeper or the one to sort of maintain equilibrium in what might have been a very chaotic situation. This may have also been something where kind of a tendency within this person when stressed or confronted with conflict is to withdraw into themselves, to kind of go into their shell, and a recognition that they have of how this has kind of set them at a distance from opportunities to, regardless of how other people receive it, to at least be honoring the part of themselves that maybe, feels very strongly in a particular manner or has certain desires or wants or needs or yearnings. This is the energy of that you are helping to inspire this person to really assess these things, discover these things. And this is bringing forth the idea of almost the exploration of the dark side of the moon. So qualities and parts about themselves in their shadow, or a deep kind of dark night of the soul energy that they are involved in right now, independent of this connection, that in some way you are a beacon, you are an inspiration for them, you are helping to kind of pull them and urge them and guide them and to be a companion to them, energetically speaking, in this process of kind of finding their true identity, who they are, who they want to be in the world versus kind of what the world has projected upon them, sort of the expectations that have been placed upon them. This idea of Eight of Cups also ties into a lot of regret with the Six of Cups, that kind of memories and nostalgia, and the element of choice with the Seven of Cups. There's a regret from walking away from you in the past based on things that maybe they had just kind of set you apart from others, had felt that you were out of their league, you were too good to be true, that somehow, if you were to see beyond these masks, see who they truly are, and kind of this very convulsing energy and this very almost a topsy-turvy energy of not really having a very solid sense of self, a very stable sense of their own identity, a fear that you may have only been attracted or allured by a particular perception that you had of them, and so almost choosing to reject you or move away from you or kind of run from this connection rather than sort of risk you kind of peeling back the layers of this person, seeing into the core of who they are and almost the unformed potential there. The strength can tie into this idea of them feeling very much like a coward for how they approached the situation in the past, or again this kind of feeling that in kind of contrast to almost this bravery that they sense within you, they view themselves or had historically viewed themselves almost very cowardly, that they see you as somebody who stands in their authenticity and is kind of moving towards that, and it's a beacon for them, it's guiding them, and at the same time they're really struggling to find the strength to go through that process, or in the past that had kind of been at a distance from them. So again, a lot of regret at the choice that they made to walk away from this connection, to not lean more deeply into this in a more profound and outward manner in the past. But the idea with yellow and the solar plexus energy along with the sun here, which is kind of the sacral energy, this root chakra energy, also solar plexus energy here, this is really speaking about an awakening, a reinvigoration, energy that the two of you exchange from a distance that is kind of firing up these lower chakras within them. This is someone who's getting ready to kind of pivot and change in their life in general, who is leaning a little more deeply every day into that authenticity, into walking away from what no longer serves them, choosing themselves over kind of this endless kind of battle to try and please everybody else at the expense of themselves. A lot of inner child wounds and healings, patterns, generational things, maybe even some kind of a codependent or toxic relationship or dynamic with certain family members, kind of enmeshed in that family drama, or kind of breaking of generational kind of trends or tendencies that they are engaged in at this point in time, and in some way directly through what you've kind of gone through in your life, that they're able to observe from afar, from this kind of cloaked stance, or what they are feeling into energetically. They're being inspired to kind of like action. Somebody who's in the process of kind of restoring balance within themselves, and with that is kind of this increase in almost hope, or kind of like the first dawnings here. This is really reminding me of the energy of like the star. So they're in this dark night of the soul almost, and then there's this beacon of hope, wanting to move toward that potential horizon of healing a lot, restoring a lot within themselves, finding their own kind of authentic identity and making that into more of their dominant personality. And from that state of empowerment, there's almost this urge to kind of continue to follow your light back to another crossroads period, where this time a different choice may be made. This time they may come to you more boldly than they did before, rather than kind of retreating or running from the triggers, and kind of seeing the situation as you representing kind of abundance and plenty, and them representing almost kind of lack and shadow and void. They're starting to really come to a place of equilibrium within themselves, and a lot of that is inspired by kind of the equilibrium and authenticity that they perceive that you embody, that you have really strived to work towards and embody within yourself. And so a lot of kind of reflection, hindsight on what had taken place in the past, and kind of moving through sort of these layers of the shadow into that best version of self to hopefully create some kind of change in this circumstance. But again, with that idea of the star, it may feel a bit distant on the horizon. So this doesn't feel like somebody who's ready to kind of leap forth and take action at this point in time. Those kind of engines are just sort of firing up. They're making their way through. And you are a companion for them through this process almost of rebirth and regeneration. You're mirroring to them the potential and possibility of the rewards on the other side of this kind of surrender to, the call to go within, to break free from patterns, to break free from kind of distortions and shadows, any ways in which you've done that in your own life, in your own world. This person is recognizing that, they're seeing that, or they're energetically perceiving that, and you really are kind of guiding them and almost pointing the way to them, for them, to that best version of self, which has always dwelled within. So I'm going to get some messages from their higher self, and then I'll close it out with some guidance from spirit and some initials. So let's see, what does this person want you to know right now, group 2? And they say it was difficult to let my guard down. So this person could have definitely been harboring a lot of internal fears, internal blockages, a lack of confidence in who they truly are, fear of letting you see too deeply within, which may have caused them to kind of run from the connection in the past. The sense of people-pleasing, codependency, or a tendency toward chameleoning, a feeling the urge to kind of walk on eggshells, maybe that stem from their childhood and just kind of carried over into adult life. There was a fear of if they let you in too close or continued to kind of work with and develop and participate with the connection, that you might see beyond all of that. You might be able to identify this tendency or trend within them, which it feels like they have equated this with a sense of cowardliness, that it's very craven of them. It's something that they're not proud to be this way. And this almost feels like somebody who, may constantly feel that they need to keep moving, kind of just circulating, flowing around, can't stand too long in one place, for fear that kind of that mask or illusion might somehow be perceived for what it truly is, and that this almost unformed or immature or almost just raw potential part of them that has gone very untapped, very unactualized within, a fear of that becoming known in some manner. A lot of fear as well, kind of a lack mentality within themselves as far as doubt of what they've had to offer, the quality of love and who they are as a person, that had really operated as kind of a barrier to letting in fully the love that you had to give in the past in this connection. They also say, my attraction to you has not changed. So this really ties in again with this idea of still feeling your energy, connecting with you in dreams. They're very inspired by you. You represent, again, something that they definitely set apart, and that may have been kind of an issue that might have been problematic for them in the past, almost that they felt in ways, even just energetically, that you were too good for them, and that really highlights kind of a lack mentality within themselves. This seems to be something that they are really kind of struggling, trying to work their way through to step into that place of personal empowerment, and learning to value kind of the quality and caliber of love that they hold inside and that they have to give. And also say, I love you. So again, a lot of deep feelings, a deep current, a deep soul connection between the two of you, and a lot of gratitude that it feels that they have for you being this companion, this guide, or this way shower on this process of personal transformation that they may have chosen to embark upon. There could have been a lot that has crumbled in their life, particularly if it had to do with kind of substances or, just coping mechanisms. A lot of that may have really reached its limit. They may have gone through kind of some trials and tribulations as the result of that. A lot of tower moments, a lot of divine intervention, and it feels like somebody who's kind of in a dark space right now, not being able to go back to the past and the way that it was in a lot of manners in their life, relating to this connection, and in other aspects of their life. Kind of the veil has been wrenched off. The illusion has been depicted for what it is. They may have really had to kind of balance the scales in some way, some kind of karma coming back around to them, or energies that they'd been putting out really coming around full circle. A lot of breakdowns in their life, a lot of kind of faulty systems or foundations having crumbled. And so now they're at sort of this place of kind of wandering a wasteland within themselves, kind of at a rock bottom. Where they might not have a lot of support around them in the material world, or feeling very kind of isolated, cut off from sort of the life that they had been living, the company they'd been keeping before, but not yet at that place of kind of restoration within themselves, or calling in new and healthy sort of connections with other people. And that it feels like through all of this, in this very kind of dark phase, this dark period, your light continues to be with them. You continue to demonstrate to them, even just energetically, sort of the nature of healthy and reciprocal love. And they also say, every thought is you. You occupy my mind. I can't escape you even if I tried. So this really ties into this element of surrender, that kind of a runner-chaser cycle, it feels like has come to a halt in some capacity. And though this person might not be ready to come boldly out and declare that and make that known, they are very attentive to your energy, very cognizant of your presence, starting to explore, things about this connection that were deeply triggering, aspects about the two of you that are very complementary to one another. Despite what has happened between the two of you, despite the distance and the silence and the way that their wounds had really inflicted sort of unnecessary kind of distress in the situation, that even just energetically you remain very steadfast in this companionship energy with them, that is starting to help them to appreciate on a deeper level the very unique and very nurturing kind of elements of this connection, even as it exists right now. And they also say, all those secrets I kept caught up with me, each and every last one of them. So this can tie into, again, a lot of tower moments, a lot of divine intervention, a lot of energies that they had been putting out that were not so productive or healthy or positive have come full circle. They have come back around. This person may be kind of in a phase of being humbled by the universe, really going through a dark night of the soul energy, as much as they had tried to almost keep moving, keep in a very fluid momentum, to kind of evade discovery, to not allow people to see deeply behind the masks. It feels like nonetheless, despite their best efforts, there's been a reckoning of sorts, and a lot of the secrets they were trying to keep, secrets about lifestyles, even addictions, tendencies within themselves, all of this has come to the surface, and it feels like has affected many areas of their life, where they're now in this place of having no choice but to really just kind of sit with this darkness, decipher and break through these kind of cycles and phases within themselves in order to kind of create new circumstances moving forward. And they also say, I kick myself for sabotaging this relationship. My life won't be the same. So that is that energy of the Six of Cups, the nostalgia, with kind of the Seven of Cups, the choice, and the Eight of Cups, this walking away, really regretting that, really regretting, not participating more with you, not reciprocating more with you, pushing you away rather than allowing you to kind of be that healing experience of a love which represents vitality versus kind of some toxicity or corrosion that they may have really been used to before. They're starting to recognize, and it feels to also be a very humbling experience, a tendency within themselves perhaps to self-sabotage that has really affected maybe other opportunities in their life up to this point, certainly affected this connection, things that they are needing to come to terms with and work through in order to step more into that authentic self, that empowered self, to be able to be very proactive in kind of moving toward a different version, a different expression of who they are in the world. So I'm going to get some guidance from Spirit now about the situation. Okay, and we've got focus. So this is really talking about, if you have felt inclined to sort of send this person loving vibrations, this can be a confirmation to continue to do that. It feels that this person is kind of moving through a darkness, kind of a rock bottom energy. Your, energetic support, your loving vibrations, your wishes for healing, wholeness, and restoration for this person, they are received and they are helping. You are operating as a companion for them. This is not to say to, kind of put your life on hold, to sort of remain standing in place while you are waiting for this person to heal. Continue on your own kind of path, on your own sort of progress to transcend the limitations within self, to transcend what has happened in this connection and how that has affected you energetically and emotionally. But understanding as well that your growth and healing triggers something within this person. It is registered on an energetic sense that there's something more for them that is available than whatever kind of darkness or almost despair that they are sitting in right now. And so it's not that you're doing the work for them, you're showing the way. So the encouragement here is to continue on that path of ascension through your own circumstances, and trust that by focusing on that, by focusing on kind of reaching for that wholeness within yourself, by shining your light very unapologetically, that sort of beacon or signal will be received by this person, and it will at least help make the way clear for them as they are navigating through their own personal process of metamorphosis and self-actualization. So I'm going to get some initials, and this can be a first, middle, or last name of you or this person, or it could spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. We've got V, C, K, D, Q, Z, U, A, and T. So those are your messages, group 2. I hope they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers if you're interested in checking any of that out as well. I'm also running a sale in my Etsy shop now through the end of the month of February. Everything is marked down 15%. So if you have been considering getting a reading, or you've had your eye on some jewelry or a dream catcher, now would be the time to act upon that, as I don't usually run sales. So this is a very good time to shop. Let me see what else. Oh, I've also launched a second channel here on YouTube. It's called Lady of the Dawn Tarot, and Again, there's a link in the description box as well as in the channel section of my page for that. The format over there is a little different from here. I do pick a cards as well as general energy check-ins, but the topics that I cover are related to spirituality, wellness, ascension, and self-love. So if that sounds interesting, I invite you to check that channel out, and I thank you for your support there as well as for your continued support here on this channel. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, Group 3. I chose the Chrysoprase along with this card, which says balance. So just tapping into the energies of this card, this imagery right here, in terms of your person's hidden thoughts and secret feelings about you. It feels that they are coming full circle in some way, some kind of major conclusions, a lot that is being revealed to them about elements of the dynamic that had been either a cause for concern, kind of the intensity, the nature of this connection, things that they weren't able to really decipher, ways in which they may have thought it to be kind of spooky, the signs and the synchronicities and some telepathy that was going on between the two of you, a lot happening in dreams that may have just been very overwhelming for them. Also, this kind of energy here of a lot that was activated within them, Kundalini activations, heart chakra activation or opening, a spiritual awakening, all of the same things that you have experienced with that idea of balance. They have gone through this as well, but that they are kind of evolving beyond, kind of reaching back around, coming close to this 180-degree turn. A lot of answers that they have discovered, a lot of research that they have been doing, or things that have just kind of divinely sort of fallen in their path, recommended by algorithms, people that they have heard talking, maybe out and about, even books that they've come across that talk about spiritual concepts that discuss things like twin flames or soulmates, or even chakras if they weren't aware of that in some manner, that this person has really expanded their perception about these things, and they're starting to come into more of a place of ease, and a greater understanding, or at least an openness to kind of flowing with the unknown, with the mystery, all of these kind of aspects of the connection that defy logic, that do exist in that realm of kind of the unknown and the liminal spaces, that perhaps this is a very logical person by nature, and so all of this kind of spiritual element, these concepts of kind of like energy and soul connections and soulmates, this may have been very much outside of their wheelhouse, outside of the realm of kind of what they view as reality, that in some way they are kind of expanding their perceptions, and that this is really helping them to start to understand and decipher the connection with from a different lens, from a different perspective. They're starting to see things almost from your perspective, and it feels like as kind of if you pivoted into sort of a no contact or a separation period, and that they thought that this would be kind of the solution to sort of shut down these signs and synchronicities, to shut down the energetic exchange, to shut down the activations and all that goes with that. It feels like they were sorely mistaken, that these things have continued nonetheless, and that this person is really moving beyond almost this stance of wanting to project blame, or to almost think that you were doing something, manipulating the energy in some manner, or that there was something very kind of fearful, or this sort of otherness, something that they needed to kind of run and hide from as far as this dynamic is concerned, that there's a lot of growth and evolution that has happened in that sense, and more of an openness in terms of curiosity, a lot of answers that they've gotten as well. Things starting to make sense, coming into this kind of place of balance within themselves, more comfort with the unknown, and learning to kind of flow and sway with sort of the changing vibration and experience of one another, energetically speaking, to where it almost feels like a softening, leaning into kind of needing to forgive themselves for jumping to some extreme conclusions, maybe again kind of just sort of pushing you away, feeling that there was kind of an otherness to this, something that couldn't be trusted about you or this situation, sheerly based on sort of what was happening energetically within them. And again, these kind of signs and synchronicities and things that were just very outside of the ordinary to them, that they are moving beyond that, they're transcending beyond that, they're starting to understand and kind of learn to speak the language of spirit. So for some of you, this is somebody who has embarked upon their own kind of spiritual journey, their own process of sort of self-discovery, and that the more they are kind of learning about themselves, the more they are coming kind of full circle for themselves, it is helping them to kind of grow and expand beyond their perceptions of you and this connection, what has happened up to this point in time, growing beyond kind of a very linear sort of path or thinking that they had been on as far as what the best approach was in this situation, to close off or block or kind of move away from this, to continue to kind of run and get as far away as they could from kind of that point of activation between the two of you, that they are almost leaning back in the direction of wanting to return to that decision point where a choice was made and move in another direction. So this can really talk about thoughts as well about reaching out. There's a softening of the stance. There's kind of a change in the weather, a change in how they are perceiving you. Their feelings are changing. They're seeing the situation from a higher perspective as well, trusting more in that higher guidance from themselves. Again, still getting a lot of the signs, a lot of the synchronicities, a lot coming through in dreams that may have been providing them with some kind of an illumination about the larger kind of purpose or plan that the two of you at the soul level had set in place prior to this incarnation, for kind of interacting with one another. So I'm going to get some tarot and oracle cards to dig a little bit deeper into their hidden thoughts and secret feelings about you and the connection. Okay, so we've got the Nine of Cups, which is water energy, Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio. Four of Pentacles, which is earth energy, Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo. Six of Pentacles, so more earth energy. Seven of Wands, which is fire energy, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Ace of Wands, so more fire energy. Lucid dream, awareness, opportunities. Summer, taking action, fruition, intellect. Fire opal, sensuality, confidence. And to be fair. Okay, in this to be fair card, this really reminds me of Libra energy with this woman holding the two scales there in the balance. And it's so funny. This card has come out in all three groups. So yeah, out of an oracle deck of, I think there's 50 some odd cards in this deck right here, this Wisdom of the Oracle deck, and I have shuffled. This is the theme, it feels like, for this entire reading for everybody is this idea of balance. Again, it's really leaning into kind of what was coming through with this imagery of kind of this tree branch here, kind of coming around full circle. A lot that had been kind of skewed or slanted about this person's perspective previously is starting to kind of lean into the other direction rather than being in opposition to this connection. This is someone who's starting to work with these energies. And also with this to be fair card coming out in all three groups, if you felt inclined to watch groups 1 or 2, you may want to do so, as there could be additional messages for you in either of those groups as well. But with the Nine of Cups, this is really talking about, again, it's tying in with that element of kind of leaning, that the thoughts were at one point in time, they may have been very chaotic. This person might have really been kind of fighting their feelings, fighting the urge, feeling a lot of resistance, or that this situation with the Seven of Wands was something that they needed to guard or defend themselves against. That this is actually something that the nature of these thoughts, it is moving into more of a pleasant, more of a peaceful and a placid direction. Rather than viewing you as kind of the enemy or the adversary, they're starting to recognize that the two of you are in fact on the same team in some capacity. There's a sense of wanting to give with the Six of Pentacles, wanting to, again, restore that balance here in the situation, maybe by way of sharing with you what they have discovered, what is kind of changed within their perspective, what they have really kind of uncovered about the nature of themselves, some kind of spiritual journey that they find themselves on. This fire opal and the Ace of Wands is really speaking to a lot of attraction, a lot of invigoration. This is that Kundalini energy. This is that creative fire. So somebody who could be in this process of kind of trying to come up with a creative solution, an excuse or a reason to reach out to you. Sort of the more that they discover, the more that is revealed to them. Also with lucid dream, a lot that is coming through in the dream state, a lot of epiphanies and awareness, and with all that kind of yellow energy, that solar plexus energy, this is talking about empowered action. So rather than feeling very fearful of this dynamic, very kind of uncertain or uneasy about sort of the otherworldly nature of this situation, this is something where they're starting to shift their perspective into seeing again that the two of you really are on the same team, that this caught both of you very unaware, very much off guard, and that rather than trying to almost, fight kind of these feelings, fight the intensity, fight the nature of what is happening energetically, these kind of processes that have been instigated within both of you as far as awakening and ascension. This feels like that this individual's kind of leaning more into that, leaning into the exploration of these things, starting to open themselves up, open their mind to how they might benefit from this circumstance, how they might benefit from this experience. How this actually might be a circumstance that is for their highest good rather than something which is, ultimately in detriment to them. With the Four of Pentacles, this is really speaking about a lot of value that they have taken in, a lot that they have learned and discovered, a lot that they are starting to really cherish and treasure or recognize the value in terms of your dynamic with each other, that still exists up to this point in time with all of this kind of fiery energy and even the energy of summer here. There's a lot of empowerment. This is a very strong bond, that despite their efforts, despite what they have done to try and kind of banish or cut off this energy, despite how much time and space has kind of passed between the two of you, any distance that has been created, walls and barriers that have been put up in a variety of ways, and yet still the energy continues to kind of flow between the two of you. Still, these layers and aspects of kind of ascension and awakening continue to take place. That this is something where they're leaning into this energy of gratitude for this experience. The more that they are surrendering to this process and are recognizing that they are being moved within themselves into more of an alignment with kind of the highest potential of what is possible for them, that through this kind of almost very jarring experience of being recalibrated in some way energetically through an awakening, through this activation, through even kind of the awareness of their spiritual self, of chakras and energy and soulmates and the soul itself, all of these kind of areas of kind of the esoteric and the metaphysical, the spiritual that had not necessarily been part of their day-to-day reality. Very materially focused person is now starting to turn their attention toward the spiritual. And what they are discovering, it's putting them more at ease. This is someone who's leaning out of kind of a fearful, shadowy energy into this stance of empowerment. The idea here with the globe as well can tie into kind of that branch that's reaching around, somebody who's considering, strategizing, kind of coming full circle, reaching out to you from afar, coming in from out in the cold. Somebody who has really come full circle, who has sought and has discovered a lot of answers, perhaps even modalities of healing from other cultures, somebody who might be exploring kind of their roots, the root of who they are, how they've been moving through the world. It feels to be a very analytical person as well, so somebody who has really been retracing their steps, trying to find answers and solutions about what happened, what instigated this, what kind of sparked and set off this very kind of profound, almost like fireworks connection between the two of you that has changed everything internally, energetically. It feels that it's, kind of quite an adventure that the two of you have been on, and that it's something where they're finding answers in very unlikely places. They're coming more into this place of ease with this woman with the surfboard here on the summer card. This is bringing to mind almost the idea of, rather than being very overwhelmed or kind of taken under by these waves of energy, the intensity, the fear and the confusion, this is somebody who's learning to ride that current, somebody who is reaching a level of self-mastery. Somebody who is, kind of seeing the situation, seeing you, seeing this energy from a completely different stance, that in some way, rather than kind of working to their disadvantage, that this whole experience, this journey, almost this these parallel paths that the two of you have been on, of kind of awakening and stepping out of a particular version of self and kind of emerging into a new skin of who you are authentically, or more in alignment with who you are intended to be or have the ability to choose to be in this lifetime, that this is leaning more into the direction of positivity, a lightening of the energy, as opposed to kind of the heaviness and the shadow and feeling very held down, or very almost like the need to kind of fight or push this away. There's a flow and an openness that is kind of taking place within this situation. Very almost kind of tied to and yet independent of the circumstance. Again, it feels like distance has been created, and nevertheless kind of these waves of energy, these waves of activation, downloads, ascension symptoms, maybe multiple dark nights of the soul. All of this has really taken place independent of the two of you interacting with one another in a direct basis. It feels that this is someone who has run the gamut as far as what they are attributing this to. Again, kind of leaning in at one point in time to maybe you were manipulating the energy in some manner, you were doing something or had done something to them to kind of spark or instigate this, which may have led to fear and defensiveness, elements of denial that they may have been in, trying to put their attention and focus elsewhere, hoping to almost starve out the connection, or if they ignored it long enough that it would just go away. Kind of a sense of mystery and hopelessness, not really knowing what to do, a lot of anxiety, which may have led them to searching, or at least this receptivity to kind of the signs and the nuggets that spirit was putting in their path, as far as kind of the deeper implications of what was happening here, what was sparked and awakened within each of you very unconsciously, but it feels like in a manner that was very planned by each of you at the soul level for this particular time in your lives and on this journey. Now this person is leaning into kind of seeing the benefits of this, seeing the positive aspects of this, feeling more empowered, less fearful, more excited, more curious, wanting to work with this energy, wanting to flow with this energy, leaning into a space of wanting to communicate with you, kind of the revelation that has taken place. That a lot of things, it feels like, also with all of this kind of like bright and shiny energy here, that they may have gone through a pretty profound dark night of the soul and have almost come out the other side, feeling a lot better within themselves, feeling more empowered, maybe cultivating a lot of abundance for themselves in some manner that they are able to very consciously kind of trace back and attribute to almost that crossroads period between the two of you, where something was sparked, something was activated, something was awakened. And this is someone who's actualizing their full potential, who instead of kind of playing the victim and operating in a lack mentality and a fear-based mentality, they're choosing to work with this. They're choosing to kind of manifest a new future for themselves, to look at this as almost co-creative raw material, this creative force, this kundalini energy, and they are stepping into almost a better version of self, very much as a companion to what is kind of happening with you. It feels like this person is very self-focused at this point in time. They've been very self-focused. They may have almost deliberately tried not to sort of see what you're up to, what you're looking at, and so kind of leaning into this element of curiosity. Perhaps they have just kind of, it's almost like with this summer, the idea of kind of coming back from vacation. They're just starting to check back in to see, where are you at in your life? What are you, how have kind of these changes, how has this affected you? And they are seeing you as standing in a very empowered energy. You have better boundaries and barriers than you did before. You have cultivated a sense of self-worth. You are filling your own cup. They are recognizing you as somebody who is actively taking steps toward living your best life in the here and now, rather than kind of entertaining this energy of passivity or kind of longing, looking from afar in the direction of your dreams. They see you as somebody who, as they are really inspired to do, has utilized this energy to your benefit, has utilized this experience, this awakening, this interaction with this person, to really go within, to heal and to transcend limitations and boundaries within self, that you're using this creative fire to create the life of your dreams in a certain manner, in whatever way that looks like for you. They're recognizing you as kind of occupying this very empowered state, this empowered stance. You appear to be very balanced in your life. And kind of the way that they're seeing you, almost also in this energy of like a personal glow up, this is also helping to kind of ease the burden, to kind of dispel any fears that there had been some kind of manipulation on your part taking place here, that this was something that was not to be trusted or was to be kind of kept at a distance. They're seeing you from a different light. They're seeing you as a very pure and positive presence in the world. They're recognizing you as somebody who's very generous, somebody who is very sort of dedicated to your path, to your calling, toward, kind of stepping into that authenticity, riding kind of the waves of your own sort of healing journey, or where life is taking you at this point in time. And it's drawing them to you. It's kind of re-sparking something within them, this urge to kind of lean in deeply, discover more, curiosity that is also kind of building about you and the situation and kind of where you are at, that is almost coaxing them into this energy of wanting to sort of bring something forward, take some kind of action, provide some kind of an explanation, words maybe, or, just kind of open that door to communication at some point, restore balance in the situation, try to kind of course correct from where the two of you veered away from one another in the past. But it feels like something where just kind of the more that they see, the more that they discover and grow within themselves, the more they are able to kind of observe, even just energetically tapping in and kind of feeling the elevation in your vibration. It's coaxing them in. It's bringing them back around to that kind of point where they had run or recoiled or pushed you away in the past in order to kind of move in a different direction, choose a different path or approach to this circumstance in the future. So I'm going to get some messages from their higher self and see what do they want you to know right now, group 3. Okay, and they say, I still feel connected to you even with you gone. So that confirms that those efforts and attempts that they had made to kind of disconnect from this, put you out of sight, out of mind, refocus elsewhere, distract themselves, run from this. You're still a very vibrant presence with them. Almost, it feels like two people who are kind of growing in tandem with one another. They're sensing and feeling your mood shifts, your changes, your elevation. They are perceiving your glow up, which may have really instigated them almost to kind of come back from vacation with that idea of summer. Summer can also be a confirmation for a name for somebody as well, for these messages, but it's the idea of almost someone who is away on summer break, just kind of trying to enjoy sort of the easy life, not really do the heavy kind of lifting in this situation, and that they've turned a corner in some manner, rather than kind of escaping or running or being at a distance from you and from this situation and the opportunity for kind of personal growth and expansion that this very intense dynamic affords the two of you, that they're really being almost led by your example, energetically speaking, or even kind of literally if they are able to sort of watch you from afar and sort of perceive your growth, even something that just, if you're not very public about that, it feels like something that in your aura, in your glow, that really translates through photographs even. You look different. There's something different about you. There's a confidence that wasn't there before, that is really coaxing them in the direction to lean more deeply and to fight this connection less than they had in the past. They also say, I stay busy so I don't think of you. So that confirms that idea of distraction, maybe focusing a lot on work, trying to kind of banish you from their thoughts, redirect the focus elsewhere. A lot of signs, synchronicities, things that might have made them very uneasy. They were very relentless. If you have felt this, it feels to be very mutual energy, very reciprocal energy. They have experienced all of the same things that you have energetically and in terms of signs from the universe. But it's almost that, despite those best efforts to kind of focus on other things, to, just kind of entertain sort of more surface level activities and situations, spending time just kind of living the easy life in some manner, that nevertheless they are still very much aware of you energetically. They're still very much kind of drawn to you. You continue to kind of be this companion with them through this process. They also say, I watch you from a distance. So confirmation right there, somebody kind of returning home to check in on you. Perhaps they've always kept an eye on you, maybe with a bit of skepticism, a guarded energy, trying to kind of decipher and see, what are you up to? Where are you at? What's going on? What are you doing? And I'm hearing like a direct quote from someone, what are you doing to me? So again, someone that may have been really operating out of an energy of fear. And it feels that is really lightened. It's really a changed perspective. They're seeing you from a different kind of vantage point. They're seeing you more in your authenticity, more in your empowered stance. Your attention is elsewhere. You're cultivating other things in your life. they are, kind of looking at you more with sort of from the lens of love rather than kind of fear and skepticism that may have been the case previously. And also this idea of watching from the distance can tie into, kind of trying to feel things out to see where are you at energetically? Who do you have in your life? Are you available? What is going on? What changes have you made? A way of also almost comparing notes for anything they're able to sort of perceive or decipher, kind of reading between the lines about, things that happen with them in terms of ascensions, downloads, upgrades, things that are really going on with them spiritually, and without directly communicating to you, almost trying to see if they can pick up or see, are you feeling the same thing too? Is this going on with you as well? Is this a shared energy? Is it a mutual energy? And it feels for a lot of you, they are getting those confirmations that is helping them to kind of see the situation from different eyes, from a different angle. That the two of you, instead of needing to kind of be adversarial to one another or to really fight with each other, this person really fighting this connection, that they're almost seeing that it's more conducive for them to kind of participate with this, to lean into this, to work with these energies and with this kind of flow and momentum. They also say you will always have a special place in my heart nobody else can fill. So they still hold you in a very high regard despite what has happened, despite any kind of fear or efforts they had made to really push you away or kind of extinguish this connection. Tales that they may have told themselves that you were to blame in this circumstance, that there was something not to be trusted or not quite right about this circumstance and the situation, that at the end of the day, after that kind of narration of fear has kind of run its course and this person is really coming into more of this place of personal empowerment, they're able to really decipher and discern an innocence to this situation, kind of a purity to this situation, a lot of attraction and allure that they have towards you still, despite what has happened and however much and whatever they have tried to do to kind of extinguish that. They keep coming back around to you. They keep being reminded of you. They keep being drawn to you in a very kind of mysterious way, and in a way that may have been very unsettling for them, but which is now starting to take on kind of these elements of satisfaction and joy. And they also say, I must admit that I'm longing for your touch and warm embrace. So they definitely could be strategizing, reaching out, creating some kind of movement, some kind of conversation, opening those lines of communication again. If they had, run and kind of pushed you away, this is the energy of somebody who's, again, sort of leaning back into exploring the possibilities and potential about, can we start again? Is there something still viable here? What would happen if I were to work with these energies and work with you in this situation rather than kind of fight against it? And they also say judgment. I'm making the decision once and for all to turn this around. So great confirmation right there again of that idea of coming full circle, and that energy of judgment, scorpionic energy, that can tie into, again, these kind of dreams, epiphanies, some kind of call that they have heard, something that has awakened within them, information they have come upon, even just seemingly randomly, that has helped to kind of change their perspective of the nature of this connection, the nature of who they are. This feels to be someone who's stepping even more deeply into maybe a self-identity as a light worker in some capacity, seeing you as a resonant soul in that manner. This can also be somebody, if you resonate as a twin flame, and this is a twin flame runner, who had really been fighting that idea of the two of you being counterparts, with that idea of balance with the Six of Pentacles, and also, to be fair, as well as this kind of Ace of Wands, this flames, fiery energy. This can really talk about surrendering to that idea, seeing the validity in that, needing this time and space to really come to this conclusion on their own. And they are now kind of transitioning into this energy of wanting to move back towards you, to kind of approach this situation from a different point of view than they had in the past. So I'm going to get some guidance from Spirit, and then I'll close it out with some initials for you. Okay, and we have Divine Feminine. So that can be a confirmation right there. If you resonate as the divine feminine, if you resonate as a twin flame, to maintain this energy of receptivity. This person feels that they have leaned into almost balancing these wounded masculine aspects of themselves that had caused them to run from the connection. And you just kind of embodying the fullness of your authenticity, the masculine and feminine polarities within self. Analyzing your emotional body, moving into a space of gratitude and receptivity, calling into your experience, an abundance mindset, and abundant experiences. All of this has been registered by this individual. It feels almost like a component or a key in this situation that they need to be the one to come round and make things right. So as much as you may feel drawn to kind of reach out to them preemptively, to check in, it feels the two of you are very energetically aware of one another. The signs and synchronicities may be heavily felt on both sides. You may even kind of perceive this person's presence kind of lurking, watching from a distance, and it may be kind of a challenge to you to be patient, to just allow them to take these steps forward. This is definitely the guidance in this situation. Be open to receive this person in a changed vibration, in an elevated vibration, in a readiness to work through the difficulties of the past and to co-create with this dynamic and with this energy. And if this person happens to come back around and they are not in that vibration, holding that very healthy and empowered divine feminine energy within, with that Four of Pentacles as well, of keeping your boundaries very solid, raising the bar from what had been tolerable with this individual in the past, so that they have the opportunity to kind of rise to meet you on that level. For others of you, this is really talking about just receptivity to a high vibrational counterpart, love, soulmate energy that will meet you somewhere on the horizon. That if this person chooses to, not kind of complete this full cycle journey, they still have a long way to go to kind of reach that place of decision where kind of a move in one direction was made. This is urging you to just continue to work to keep your heart open, to kind of seek and sort of eliminate any barriers within yourself that have you in this energy of kind of questioning the value and the validity of the love that you have to offer. By continuing to embody that best and most receptive and action-oriented part of yourself, you will call in a soul who will resonate and is ready, willing, and able to reciprocate love with you in a healthy and high vibrational manner. So regardless of if it is this person further down the road or somebody else, this really speaks to love that is inbound for you. And your task at this point in time is to continue to maintain kind of that energy of receptivity, being very aware of opportunities, using your intuition, feeling into whatever directions you are really called to move in this circumstance and in your life in general. And by continuing to do that, you again remain this kind of ever-changing point on the horizon that encourages love to kind of take the steps necessary to rise and reach you. So I'm going to get some initials now, and this can be a first, middle, or last name of you or this person, or it could spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. Got Z, Q, O, G, I, W, R, B, T, and F. So those are your messages, group 3. I hope they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers if you're interested in checking any of that out as well. I'm also running a sale in my Etsy shop now through the end of the month of February. Everything is marked down 15%. So if you have had your eye on a piece of jewelry or a dream catcher, or you've been considering getting a reading, now might be a good time to act upon that, as I don't often run sales. I've also launched a second channel here on YouTube. It's called Lady of the Dawn Tarot, and there's a link in the description box as well as in the channel section of my page for that. The format there is a little different from here. I do pick-a-cards as well as general energy check-ins, but the topics that I cover are related to spirituality, wellness, ascension, and self-love. So if any of that sounds interesting, I invite you to check that channel out. I thank you for your support over there, as well as for your continued support here on this channel. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.